What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark, MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm reviewing The Killer's Game. This movie stars Dave Bautista and Sofia Boutella, uh, who has been set free from Rebel Moon, and she's been allowed to do something that is not Rebel Moon. Thank Jesus. Um, so, this is decidedly the best thing Sofia Boutella has done in 2024. um, and I try to figure out if is but Dave also has My Spy 2, The Eternal City. I'd say these are about equal. These are about equal. Yeah, they're about equal. So in Killer's Game, which is sort of an interesting concept for a film, that just didn't work at the box office, which is kind of unfortunate because I know, and I feel like we've changed the whole old method of what studios used to do, and release things don't matter quite as much. But like September used to be like a don't release your good movies here. This is where movies go to die. This is where like early Oscar movies start their limited releases, or the major movies just occasionally you'll get a movie that kind of pops in September, like Zoolander, you know. But we've had obviously some other movies that have really sort of swung for the fences in September and done bananas business out of nowhere just because they opened in September. I think like Shang-Chi is technically a September release, right? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like now we've changed the game where I feel like something like Killer's Game should have done well at the box office, but just didn't. Why? Probably the studio. If I'm gonna be real honest, I think it's Lionsgate. And the one thing that I noticed, and because now I reviewed a couple things, I believe this is Lionsgate. I'm operating off of that assumption. Um, is that the other films that I've noticed that are Lionsgate that they followed up with, like Whitebird and Small Things Like These, they just didn't have marketing. They just kind of, it's like Lionsgate became poor and like the, Scrooge from Christmas Carol, and just stopped paying and promoting their other movies. So Whitebird died with like $1 million opening weekend, even though Wonder made a god amount of money at the box office. It's like literally a follow-up to Wonder, and it can't make even like 10 million opening weekend. It's weird. Small things like these just, and then there's no awards campaign, so it's like it's hard to get it off the ground because they're not really doing anything with it. Like I had to see Small Things Like These on my own because I was not submitted Small Things Like These. They really didn't do anything for Megalopolis. Not that Megalopolis was a great movie. It didn't have great buzz. And they didn't do anything for Killer's Game. All their movies after Borderlands and The Crow just died. They wasted all their money on two shitty movies, and then everything else after that, they were just broke. So, Killer's Game is fine. Killer's Game is better than The Crow and Borderlands. I think critically we can all agree on that. Like, I find me a critic who disagrees with me, and we'll have that debate. But this is a better movie than the two movies that they spent all their money on. So it's a shame because I think more people would have seen it and would have enjoyed Dave Bautista in this. It's a film that's shaped around him and continues to help propel him forward in an action career. It's not his best work. It's not the crowning achievement of Dave Bautista's career, but I do love the fact that Dave challenges himself as an actor to do both action films where he obviously is super comfortable, but also dramatic work. And he's worked with a lot of top directors. He is destined to do great things. He is positioning himself to get an Oscar nomination. Sounds weird, but look at his career. Look at who he's worked with, and you'll see that he's worked with some top-notch directors. I mean, he's done the James Bond movie. He was in Blade Runner 2049 with Denis Villeneuve. He's got also Dune. He's got James Gunn's Guardian of the Galaxy franchise. He's working with great directors. And this year he was in The Last Showgirl opposite Pamela Anderson, giving a dramatic performance, you know. So yeah, clearly he wants to continue to expand that side of him faster than it seems like his sort of contemporaries, Dwayne Johnson and John Cena, were doing at this point in their careers. They were much more concerned with being matinee idols, and putting butts in seats and being box office. You know what I'm saying? Like Dave seems to be a lot more concerned with who am I working with? What is the movie? What's the character? And if it doesn't make a ton of movie at the box office, that's fine. But did it add to my overall sort of sense of self? You know, my presence. It's very admirable that his approach to acting, coming out of that same sort of, you know, former wrestler and MMA fighter realm thing that we're getting. Uh, so he plays a contract killer who uh, finds out he falls in love with this girl, and he started to, and finally and you get the feeling that he's never really allowed himself to do that before. So he's like, well, I kind of just want to retire and spend my time with this girl, but he's been having these weird sort of like episodes. So he goes to the doctor. The doctor does some blood work and then tells him that he has a terminal illness and he'll be dead in 3 months. And like the terminal illness is like the symptoms and everything are just like really horrifying. So he's like, oh, not me. You know, I'm not going to do this to the girl that I love. You know, I want to spend this, but no, I want to go out. I live by the sword. I die by the sword. So he puts out a hit on himself. And then the doctor calls him and is like, oh, the lab fucked up. Those weren't your results. You're fine. You should probably have your eyes checked because it's probably, it's probably something similar like that. Um, and so, yeah. So then so he's like, well, I don't want to die, but he can't cancel the contract. But now he has all of these assassins that are coming after him. And it's kind of fun the way that it's directed, the way that we get to see all these different assassins, and they all sort of have these quirky personalities and approaches to how they do things. The film's kind of fairly graphically violent. It's not overtly so. I mean, in 2024, The Substance really just sort of redefined what graphic violence was. I think The Substance redefined what graphic violence was even for the Terrifier franchise. I think Terrifier was like, damn, girl. I mean, we thought we were just shit. Okay, Terrifier 4. We have to one up you now. So no, that film is. I still refuse to watch the Terrifier movies. I just always hear about them. I'm just like, no, fuck that. So, but it's so yeah. So he has to fight to stay alive, and also, you know, he does have this girlfriend who doesn't know what he does for a living, and he has to keep her alive. So it's all sort of interesting how this plays out, and I liked it. You know, I feel like this is the kind of movie that Jason Statham would have been offered 15 years ago. You know, and now it's Dave Bautista. It's just sort of that kind of movie, and some of those movies ended up launching franchises. You know what I'm saying? Like, but Dave Bautista feels like he's fully positioned to do the Transporter right now. You know, like, but he doesn't have to. I mean, I don't think he should, but like, you could take that script and just give it to Dave Bautista. Like, there's nothing about that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the same sort of script where it feels like this could have been a Jason Statham movie a few years ago, and probably before that, Bruce Willis in the 90s, because it does have a little bit of a comedic angle to it. So you have to be able to. I wouldn't have given this to, like, Seagal was never going to get this because Seagal couldn't make anybody laugh to save his life. So this would have been. I mean, Stallone did some stuff like that had some comedy tinge to it. Didn't always work. Stop or my mom will shoot. But yeah, Bruce Willis had some action comedies going on for him, so it could have been him back in the day. But it's got that vibe to it. And Batista's already done this before. That's why I said it's like My Spy. And then this year he also had My Spy 2. So it's about the same quality. It's not. It didn't like blow my mind, but it felt like a solid action movie. Definitely worth one watch. Which is how I feel about the My Spy franchise. I'm like, that's worth one watch. Which you can watch those films once each. If you're not completely, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're looking for something to do, I would say yes. Those are they're not. I don't think people are going to rewatch these over and over. But Killer's Game is definitely better than Crow and Borderlands. God, somebody at Lionsgate just need to watch their entire slate of films and be like, what are we prioritizing here? And then be like, well, everything we have being released in September, October, November, December is decidedly better than our two August movies. So can we just abandon them? I would have taken the P&A from them and just thrown them into the other movies. So anyway, uh, that's it. I'm gonna give the Killer's Game B minus. The audio description is absolutely worth it. Make sure you watch it because it's an action movie, so you obviously wouldn't catch the violence, and there's a lot of violence in here. A lot of complicated fight choreography too, as well. Some bloody stuff, some stuff that they do with one dude who like lights a cigar with a severed arm that has a flame on it. Some of the stuff is just so random. The tone for this film is like, how funny are you trying to be right now? Like, anyway, yeah, I like this movie enough. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.